Human rights issues, unlawful and arbitrary killings, restrictions on freedom of expression and the press, corruption and tolerance of violations of religious freedom. These are the terms that a recent report has used while reporting the human rights practices in India. Several similar reports have highlighted the same, but India continues to deny each one of them. The recent report by US 2020 Country Reports on Human Rights Practices said that India has several significant human rights issues. However, in its reports to the US Congress, the Department of State noted the improvement in the human rights situation in Jammu and Kashmir. The State Department in its report said that the government continued taking steps to restore normalcy in Jammu and Kashmir by gradually lifting some security and communication restrictions. It added that the government released most political activists from detention. Situation in Jammu and Kashmir was not the only highlight of the report. The State Department listed more than a dozen significant human rights issues in India. Issues like unlawful and arbitrary killings, including out-of-court killings committed by police, torture and cases of cruel, inhuman and degrading treatment or punishment by some police, detention by government authorities, harsh and life-threatening prison conditions, political and prisoners or detainees in certain states, and the data backs these statements rightly so. Between 2010 and 2015, 591 people have died in police custody in India, although police blame most of the deaths on suicide, illness or natural causes. For instance, of the 97 custody deaths reported by Indian authorities in 2015, police records list only 6 as due to physical assault by police, 34 are listed as suicide, 11 as death due to illness, 9 as natural deaths and 12 as deaths due to hospitalization or treatment. However, in many cases, family members allege that the deaths were the result of torture. Moreover, there has been a 72% increase made under UAPA, which is Unlawful Activities Prevention Act in 2019. As many as 5,900 people were arrested in different parts of the country between 2016 and 2019 under UAPA. Around 2,000 people were arrested in 2019 alone. The US report also mentioned restrictions on freedom of expression and the press, including violence, threats of violence or unjustified arrest or prosecution against journalists. It talked about the use of criminal libel laws to prosecute social media speech, censorship and site blocking. India saw the highest number of internet outages in the world in 2020. India in fact topped the list of 29 countries that disrupted internet access for people in 2020. A total of 150 internet shutdowns were imposed globally, out of which India alone had 109 shutdowns. These numbers are no different in 2019. India had led the highest number of internet shutdowns in 2019 as well, with 121 outages followed by 12 shutdowns in Venezuela, 11 in Yemen, 8 in Iraq, 6 in Algeria and 4 in Ethiopia. It said that the government, although generally respected this right, there were many instances where the government allegedly pressured or harassed media outlets critical of the government. There were reports of killings, violence and intimidation against journalists who criticized the government. In 2020 alone, at least 50 journalists were killed in India. The vast majority were deliberately murdered because they researched topics such as corruption, organized crime or environmental degradation. In 2019, this number was 53. In the last 10 years, at least 937 people have been killed because of or in the course of their journalists' work. The report also talked about the conviction of lawyer Prashant Bhushan. The lawyer was convicted for criminal contempt of court for 2 tweets criticizing the Chief Justice of India. Another example that the report mentioned was that a complaint filed against news website The Wire editor for his tweet about a news report on Uttar Pradesh's Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath. The report also talked about overly restrictive rules on NGOs, restrictions on political participation, corruption at all levels in government. India has the highest rate of bribery and use of personal links to access public services such as healthcare and education in Asia. The report also highlighted the issues of lack of investigation and accountability for violence against women. India recorded 88 rape cases every day in 2019. The northwestern state of Rajasthan reported almost 6,000 rape cases in 2019, followed by Uttar Pradesh with 3,065 cases. We have seen many such reports this year, from India becoming partly free to being declared as electoral autocracy. This raises many questions. Firstly, India in tackling terrorism, is India losing its democratic ethos? Secondly, can India continue to deny these reports while the data suggests otherwise?